Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, FD for Search5.tv, and today we bring you a review of Story, a layer 1 blockchain. But before I jump into the actual details, guys, please know that I am not a financial advisor. If you do require financial advice, please approach someone who's trained to give you financial advice. The information contained in this video is just for educational as well as entertainment purposes. And this content is also not targeted at UK audiences for the sole reason that the UK authorities do deem anything crypto related to be extremely risky, and they're trying to protect you just in case you end up losing your funds and your investments. That said, guys, let's come back to the subject matter. Story. What is Story? Story is a layer 1 blockchain designed to serve as the foundation for intellectual property or IP on the internet. Story is a peer-to-peer intellectual property network that creates a programmable market for knowledge and creativity. Scientific and creative assets are designed on a universal ledger with customizable usage parameters. All assets are equipped with a composable interface that can be consumed by any software application or artificial intelligence model, allowing intellectual property to be used and monetized across the internet. Any two willing individuals can trade, extend, and monetize their ideas directly on Story without interference from rent-seeking intermediaries. I know that, and I'm very much aware of that because I know a thing or two about intellectual property, which includes patents, trademarks, and design rights. In my field of work, that's part of my remit, so I know a thing or two about rent-seeking intermediaries. Anyway, coming back to Story, programmable terms set by owners are embedded within each intellectual property asset, and it is monetized and exchanged across any software application on the Story network, generating yield for each owner across the internet. Story provides both the universal repository and the programmable market for intelligence needed to increase the intellectual output of humanity. Moving on to some key features for Story network, or Story the blockchain. Story on-ramps IP to the blockchain and makes it programmable through innovation across 3 layers. The first layer is the application layer, which is a vibrant ecosystem of applications that leverage tokenized intellectual property for use cases like intellectual property finance or IPFI. The second layer is the programmable IP license. This is a universal agreement with out-of-the-box configurations to connect code and law. Remember that statement, code is law. Now code is being linked to law. So law will become code and code is law, as we all know. The third and final layer is the Proof of Creativity Protocol, or POC. This is a modular smart contract protocol that tokenizes IP and makes it programmable. And some of the core components include the main core, which is EVM compatible, supporting smart contracts and transactions. Got the IP core, which handles IP registrations, licensing, and monetization. Off-chain synchronization core, which integrates with Oracle and real-world data. And we also have cross-chain communication core, which facilitates interoperability across blockchains. Proof of creativity as a concept, it is a unique consensus mechanism validating originality and ownership of IP assets while tracking their genealogy and licensing terms. You got IP asset registration, and here intellectual property assets can be registered as different versions of ERC token standards with optional IP accounts enabling programmable functionalities. Next, you got modules for IP management. We are still on key features. You got the licensing module, which enables creators to define and enforce license terms for their IP. The royalty module, which manages revenue distribution across IP chains. And thirdly, you've got the dispute model, which provides decentralized arbitration for IP-related conflicts. So no need for intermediaries like attorneys or lawyers, for example. IP assets can also be leveraged across other blockchains and integrated with off-chain legal frameworks for enforceability. So it can also be connected to off-chain assets, if that makes sense. And Story facilitates agent-to-agent and agent-to-human transactions, creating a settlement layer for AI-driven IP exchanges. The IP token, which is the ticker symbol for Story network, serves as the network's medium of exchange, facilitating transactions, staking, and validator rewards, while also securing IP assets. And finally, you've got storage and data integrity. A multi-tiered storage system ensures efficient storage of both on-chain metadata and off-chain content, such as data sets and AI models. Moving on to value proposition for Story. Story offers a peer-to-peer intellectual property IP network where users can register, license, and monetize intellectual assets without intermediaries. Intellectual property becomes a programmable asset, enabling custom licensing terms, royalties, and composability across platforms and applications. We also have a universal IP repository, which acts as a decentralized repository for the world's knowledge and creativity, thereby promoting open access and reducing dependence on centralized platforms. Story creates an an intelligence economy where IP can be used as an input for AI models, and AI-generated outputs can be tokenized and monetized as new IP assets. So you can see here the combination of IP and AI. I think this will be one of the best applications for blockchain technology and, of course, cryptocurrencies. The integration of AI into IP. That would be a strong use case, in my own opinion. Moving on to cross-chain IP liquidity. IP assets on Story can interact with other blockchain ecosystems, allowing for broader interoperability and value exchange. Now, as you know, guys, when we are doing these reviews, we do apply our DYO, or risk evaluation toolkit, consisting 13 elements in decentralization, security, scaling, interoperability, the project team, social media presence via X, formerly Twitter, as well as via Discord, age of the project, as well as the tokenomics, the numbers. And kicking us off is decentralization. The decentralization of Story can be evaluated across multiple dimensions, including its architecture, governance, consensus mechanism, and control over IP assets. For example, Story operates on a decentralized blockchain with multiple specialized cores, and each core runs on a decentralized set of validators, thereby ensuring that no single entity controls the blockchain. Independent nodes validate transactions, and the architecture allows for distributed computation, which makes for higher decentralization. Story employs a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism using the BFT, which is a modern implementation of Tendermint. This proof of stake provides distributed consensus, but validator concentration among stakeholders can still occur. So that's something to pay attention to or monitor. Users retain full control of their IP assets, and licensing is governed by smart contracts, not centralized exchanges. So everything, you could turn around and say it's automated. There is no one going to interfere or stall things. The IP token itself is used for governance, allowing token holders to vote on protocol upgrades and changes. However, while metadata is decentralized, reliance on external storage networks introduces potential centralization risks depending on node distribution. Moving on to security. Story employs robust security measures to protect IP assets, transactions, and network integrity. Fault tolerance protects against validator attacks. Comet BFT ensures network security even if up to 33% of validators act maliciously. Slashing discourages dishonest behavior. Validators engaging in malicious behavior lose staked IP tokens, ensuring honest participation. Proof of creativity, or POC, reduces the risk of IP duplication. IP genealogy tracking prevents plagiarism and ensures accurate attribution. Immutable storage ensures IP data integrity. You're talking of the likes of Arweave and so forth being used for storage. And redundance protects against data loss. Off-chain entities verify IP ownership and enforce licensing terms in order to prevent fraudulent claims. Story also plans to implement a ZK core for efficient verification of zero-knowledge proofs. This will then allow users to prove IP ownership without revealing sensitive details. Like I was saying, trading secrets and product designs. You can also trademark, or you can also apply for protection on that. So as you can tell, Story demonstrates a high degree of robustness through its model, which leverages proof of stake, cryptographic protections, and decentralized data storage. However, careful monitoring of validator concentration and Oracle dependencies is still essential to maintain decentralization and resilience. Moving on to scaling, specialized cores ensure efficient resource allocation, while IP-specific execution reduces congestion in the main core. Future extensibility allows for additional cores to support scaling needs, and parallel processing improves throughput, while gas optimization prevents transaction bottlenecks. So as you can tell here as well, under scaling, Story demonstrates a high degree of scalability through its modular blockchain architecture and cross-chain integration. As far as interoperability is concerned, Story's inter-blockchain communication, or IBC core, facilitates cross-chain IP usage, promoting ecosystem-wide decentralization. Off-chain synchronization core ensures reliable Oracle integration, but dependence on specific Oracle providers could still introduce centralization risks. Moving on to the project team, according to LinkedIn, because there is no readily available information on the internet, we yet to use LinkedIn, there are approximately between 11 to 50 employees, and it also states that there are approximately 97 associated team members according to LinkedIn. So they might not be employees, maybe they are contractors, but there are 97 contracted members according to LinkedIn. Moving on to social media presence, via X, formerly Twitter, there are approximately 712,000 Twitter followers, and on Discord, just over 474,100 Discord members. On to use cases now, ticker symbol IP. IP is the native utility token used for paying transaction fees or gas on the Story blockchain. Registering and validating intellectual property property assets also requires the IP token. Licensing IP assets and obtaining commercial rights are paid in IP token, and you also need the IP token to participate in governance decisions for the Story ecosystem. Staking for network security and validation also requires the IP token, as well as the enabling of revenue sharing and royalty distribution for IP owners. So you can see the token itself has got a bunch of use cases within the Story ecosystem. And the Story tools includes, this is for the platform now, the Story Explorer, which is a user interface for discovering registered IP assets, Story Kit, which is a white label user interface used for tooling by ecosystem developers, IP Hub, which is a central depository for IP registration and management, the licensing module, which facilitates permissionless IP licensing and monetization, as well as the dispute module, which allows for staking-based IP disputes and resolution. Tokenomics, ticker symbol IP, token supply 1 billion, but there's no hard cap. That's something to be aware of. Circulating supply at the time of recording, a token of 25%, which is the same as the token generation event. It was also 25% released, so it hasn't changed because this token hasn't been in existence for too long. It launched recently. What about the token distribution? The initial supply of the IP token is set at 1 billion with an unlocked supply of 25% of that 1 billion, so you're talking of 250 million tokens. But there's no hard cap, which means there is continuous inflation. The original allocation is as follows. You got 38.4% for the ecosystem and community, 10% for initial incentives, 10% for the foundation, 21.6% for early backers, and 20% for core contributors. So according to our own analysis of this information, inside allocation is sitting at least 51.6% at a minimum, which means it could be a lot higher than this. And as you will see when we get to the scoring, this is extremely high for our liking. Now let's move on to that scaling part then, or scoring part, where we give our views through the scores we're going to issue to Story and its IP token. A quick rundown of those 13 elements once more. You got decentralization, security, scaling, interoperability, the project team, social media presence via X, formerly Twitter, as well as via Discord, age of the project use cases, tokens issued at project launch, total tokens in circulation at the time of recording, maximum tokens available, is there a hard cap and so forth, as well as insider token allocation, does it favor insiders? And to kick us off is decentralization. We gave Story network 7.5 points out of 10, security 7.5 points out of 10, interoperability 7.5 points out of 10, scaling 7.5 points out of 10, interoperability 10 points out of 10, the project team 10 points out of 10, social media presence via X and via Discord is 7.5 points apiece, age of the project recently launched 2.5 points, use cases 10 points out of 10, tokens issued at project launch 5 points out of 10, total tokens in circulation at the time of recording 5 points out of 10, maximum tokens available 0 because there's no hard cap, and inside the token allocation, like we intimated somewhere in the video, it's way above our threshold of approximately 35%. At 51.6%, we are going to give Story 0 points out of 10. There you go, folks. Do you agree with our scoring of Story? Let us know in the comment section, guys. The aggregate score for Story come up to 80 points out of 130, which is an extremely good score for a relatively new project. Just imagine if we had a hard cap and the insiders hadn't been that greedy. We could have a different story. We could have had Story maybe being the first project to reach 100 points. Debatable, but why not? Anyway, guys, 80 points out of 130 puts Story within the could go to 0 category, which is the story, so to speak, no pun intended, with most of the projects we've reviewed on this channel using our DIWA or our risk evaluation toolkit. What do you think, guys? Let us know in the comment section. For me, I really like Story because it also touches my profession. Some of the things that they are trying to do, they are part of my day-to-day in my working life, because I also work in the real world. I'm not just in Web3. Maybe the time will come. For now, we stick to the current setup. I would really want to jump into Story. Maybe I'll wait until the bear market, because I don't think it will get any cheaper from where it is. You're talking of between $4 and $5. It might drop, but at the moment, I'll wait for the bear market and then jump in to see if I can get a good deal. It is a very good project and I like it. I like what they're trying to do and I'm familiar with the subject matter, like I said. Any thoughts, guys? Let us know in the comment section. Until the next one, this is FD for 65.tv signing out for now. Bye.